Hello, and welcome to Bodied, a Cloud9 fancast. It's me, your host Havokpus. Frozen can't be here. Work has got him pretty busy, so I'm doing yet another solo show for everybody. And what's that? Oh, it's housekeeping knocking at the door because we gotta tidy up this room a bit with some fresh news draped over the bed of your ears. I was practicing that legit while I was having supper earlier. I really wanted to make sure I nailed that. I hope I nailed it. Comment below if I nailed it. But I do have some news. First, Aspen has bid a fond farewell to Cloud9. She was been a streamer with C9 for a few years now, but she has finally decided to fly the coop and spread her wings and try to make it as a pro player. So this is a really nice development for her. It's really cool to see that she does want to branch out into pro play. It was, I had watched a few of Aspen's streams. She was pretty fun and pretty entertaining. And it's always good to see people from Cloud9 go off and try to do bigger and better things, and this is definitely one of them. So hopefully she can have a nice long career. Also, for you CSGO fans out there, the CSGO team has been invited to the Arctic Invitational. It's an event that I haven't heard of until they were announced, but it's good to see that the teams got invited to an event. We'll have to see how they hold up against the competition and everything. It's going to take place August 16th and 17th. And it should be pretty cool. I really am excited to see how they do after their Blast LA performance. They're getting a lot more time probably to practice and everything, so I'm hoping that we see an even better C9 than we saw last time. Also, for Rocket League fans, Rocket League has been invited to the Rocket League Summit event, which is pretty cool. Always great to see more Rocket League. Rocket League is pretty fun, and it's a good event. I hope they win. That'll be the 16th to the 18th. So pretty fun indeed. We actually also have Vitality and PSG and NRG. We have a bunch of our old rivals actually that have beaten us where we have beaten one time or another, so it should be a really fun event. But moving on to some resulty type things, Fortnite was at the Fortnite World Cup. They didn't do amazingly well. I don't think we broke the top 10 at any point, but it was really nice to see that we were participating in such a big event. I think especially with an event like a Fortnite event, it's not necessarily, we have to go and win and win millions upon millions of dollars and be the best. But I think it's really more of a networking and a branding type event. Our players got to be there, they got to have fun, they got to meet fans, do other stuff, and we ultimately got the Cloud9 brand out there, which is probably more important at an event like that. I'd be a bit more upset if it was maybe something like the PUBG team, or maybe maybe a different esport. With Fortnite, it's very weird because it being a lot more individual based. I think it just makes it really difficult to, I think, be a consistent winner. I guess unless you're super good. I guess the kid that won the singles and ended up winning I think $6 million or something, and he's 16 and I'm 27 and he has more money than me. And I'm really sad that I couldn't have applied myself enough at a young age to really get a talent that can make me oodles and oodles of money. But I guess I have to live vicariously through others. But I'm glad we were there, and I'm glad I hope that everyone had a good time. But speaking of a team that didn't have a good time, the World of Warcraft team, they ended up getting third place at this week's Summer Cup. They played against Method Orange, and it was a really close match. And they got beat 2-3. It was really upsetting because like the last match was really close. They were looking like they were going to reverse sweep, and they were in control for most of it. But then I think it was Cubsy ran out of mana, and Multi-Man just got dropped super low super quickly, and he didn't have any ice blocks, and he ended up eventually just dying. It was really unfortunate. And I was hoping, okay, we can still come back and win this. We just gotta beat the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. But I think after that loss that we had, it kind of tilted the team, and we lost 1-3 to them. So we ended up getting third place. Not the best placing, but I think us placing top 3 consistently pretty much every week is still really good, and I think it will allow us to keep up a good form for when BlizzCon does come around, because I think since they won Spring, I think that automatically gives them a place at BlizzCon. So hopefully we'll get to see them maybe win next week. The World of Warcraft team is very exciting. I have no idea what's going on. I have no clue, but they're very fun, and I definitely encourage everybody to watch them if you can, because it's just a super cool thing to watch and a super cool event. But moving on to our big boys, the British Hurricanes did play. They ended up losing 1-3 to the... I had a second ago. Yeah, they lost to HSL Esports 1-3, which kind of sucks. I know the team is dealing with some roster issues with, you have to, move out. You're moving out, 2 players that you've had for a while for sort of 2 new players, kind of in your tank line, and that's kind of a struggle. But, hopefully the team can bounce back, and hopefully the team can, shape up and be a bit better once playoffs eventually runs around. But I just hope that the team improves and can at least do better next season once they have like actual full more practice time with some of their newer players on the roster. But what I really want to talk about is the London Spitfire crushing it. I was actually really nervous going into Stage 4. Even though there is a 2-2-2 lock, and it was basically London's bread and butter, and it's what, everyone kind of expects from London. This is, our DPS players are actually getting to play DPS, and Prophet doesn't have to play Zarya, and Birdring doesn't have to play Brig, like, all the time. But instead, we can play Widowmaker and Hanzo and Genji and all this other stuff, and it just makes Overwatch watchable again. It made everything just felt more fun. I felt engaged, and I wanted to watch more matches outside of just London's match, because it's like, well, I don't have to watch this, but I really want to see how this team does, and who they pick, and I believe actually all 32 heroes were picked over the weekend, so we're having the champion diversity without having to force this really awkward meta of, oh, well, supports are just really, really strong, so teams are just have 3, and then we can just stick tanks to protect them, and it'll be kind of a swinging rock, paper, scissors contest. Instead it's more actual skill and actual who can play very well on each class and all that. The class that they have trained themselves and designated them as. So it was really great to see. We pretty much beat the snot out of both of our opponents. We played against Dallas Fuel and the Toronto Defiant. The consistent thing we did see, though, was we lost on the control maps. Both were Ilios, I believe. And London isn't the best at control. This is a long-standing thing. You know, it is a this is a very you know, it's not new. We've seen London kind of struggle and kind of be a bit lost on control because you really do play it differently versus every other map. Every other map, it has a different tempoed pacing instead of control, where it's like you always have to kind of puppy guard the point and always have to like dogpile on things and everything. So it's you know, that is a little bit unfortunate, but seeing Prophet just pop off on every hero imaginable. He played so many heroes over the weekend, and he crushed it. I mean, this is the Prophet that we've always wanted to see, and we get to see him. And Birdring looks so much better in terms of form. You know, I was worried that, like, oh, well, maybe Birdring, you know, will struggle and won't be as good. But he was playing at a pretty high level, and he was really clicking some heads, and he was showing some really good play where it counted. And I just really like it. You know, I hope that London can really continue to do better and maybe improve. Maybe even, you know, get that one on Ilios that you kind of always chase. This weekend we have a bit of a doozy. On Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, we're playing against the Guangzhou Charge. And on Saturday, August 3rd at 3:45 Central Time, we were playing against the Florida Mayhem. So, an interesting week. I believe the Charge won both of their games. Yeah, they beat Philadelphia Fusion narrowly 3-2, and then crushed Boston Uprising 4-0. I mean, and it should be a really interesting match, especially since a few players from Cloud9 are actually associated with Guangzhou. You have did Keep leave? Oh, maybe they got rid of. They got rid of Keep. No, Keep was on the roster at one point. I guess he's gone now. But Bishu, who was a part of like a C9 League of Legends challenger team, he's on Guangzhou, and everyone's favorite tank player Fraggy is also on Guangzhou. So it should be a really interesting match. I think that, you know, if they can beat Philadelphia Fusion pretty narrowly, it should be a good match. I hope we win. I think Florida is no contest. You know, Florida's Florida. I think they did get close to. Oh no, they got crushed. Never mind. I was watching a little bit of Florida, but I couldn't remember how exactly close it was. It was not close at all. But it should be no contest. So it should be a good weekend though. I'm hoping for some big W's. But moving on to LCS. Our Academy team had a pretty fun weekend. They, I believe they 0-2'd. Or 2-0'd. I'm sorry. Yeah, they 2-0'd. They beat FlyQuest and Team Liquid Academy. One of their matches was really interesting. I think they were playing against Liquid. And they went for like the full pirate comp. So they had Gangplank, Misfortune, Pike, Twisted Fate, and oh man, what was the other one? I can't remember. But they had like all pirates, and it was really funny. It was like, it was really weird to see, but it was also really funny that it worked. Because it's like, you look at the comp and it's just like, okay, this shouldn't work. But you know, they ended up making it work. And I think they do have I think they are sitting at top 2, and I think they are clinched for playoffs. So hooray for them. But moving on to the real talk of the LCS team now. There's been a lot, and I mean a lot, of discussion around this team. They have had high highs, but also very low lows, and our match against FlyQuest was one of them. You know, you're going against like a 4 and something team. You know, they're at the bottom of the standings, really struggling to get some wins. You should just beat them on paper, alone. You know, with the personnel you have versus their team, you should win outright. The fact that they struggled so much, and this is not a good sign, I think, and it's very worrying. You know, if the team is this inconsistent, I think that that's going to definitely hurt them when it gets to playoffs or higher level play outside of LCS. You know, if C9 does end up going to Worlds somehow, whether it be through somehow getting through the playoffs and getting second place, or if it's sweeping the gauntlet, they're going to be in for a really rough time, because I don't think this team is very consistent enough to, you know, play against teams. And the FlyQuest loss, I think, is kind of indicative of that. You know, we looked really bad. We also have subbed in deftly, I think, partially because we had a lot of woes in the bot lane, and we were, you know, saying, well, maybe Sneaky should be put out because he is really struggling. But definitely didn't seem to do much better either. I really didn't like the composition either. You know, it was a thing of the draft given to us was not ideal at all, and it was more of a hindrance, you know, if anything. I didn't like Ezreal. You know, we keep picking Ezreal. We keep going for these very, like, burst damage oriented comps where it's like, okay, we go in, we do our rotations, and then hopefully we will pop them and kill the target. But if we don't, then the fight just goes the other way, and we just get creamed because we don't have enough consistent damage. You know, Niski was playing like 80 Twisted Fate, but 80 Twisted Fate doesn't really have enough damage anyway to consistently, like, sling that in your favor. You know, it's just really frustrating watching this team, like, okay, we're going to pick a really passive lane, a really poke-heavy lane with, like, Ezreal Yuumi, and then, you know, we give Niski Twisted Fate, and I've seen Twisted Fate picked a few other times in North America. I haven't seen it really do that great. And, you know, we put Licorice on Kled. Sven's decision, like, everyone's decision-making in this game is really off. You know, it was the usual suspects, kind of. Niski was doing poorly. You know, Sven was making some really weird choices too, which I didn't agree on. And then you know, Licorice was trying his best, but when you're the only consistent damage dealer as a bruiser, you know, like top lane melee champion, you can't really do a lot. So it's just, they didn't have enough damage. They were picking all these just really stupid fights that shouldn't be picked, and it was just really stupid. I didn't like it. You know, it felt like FlyQuest comp completely outmatched ours, and it was just really annoying to see. It could be that since we've clinched playoffs, that Reaper is just, we'll experiment with the draft a little bit and we'll burn some games. You know, they don't really care about the buy that much, and they want more to figure out what they'll do rather than, you know, oh, we have to win this game. But they continue to baffle me because the very next day they played against Team Liquid and won pretty decisively, I guess. They had a really interesting comp. I have to wag my finger at Team Liquid. I don't know what Kane was smoking that day, but he let go Kiana, Yuumi, and Aatrox. He let go 3 really big desired power picks. You don't let Kiana go. I don't understand why Team Liquid is like, give him the Kiana. Don't let Kiana go through. There's no way it'll go through. Don't ban Kiana. And then what does Cloud9 do? They take the Kiana. And, you know, I have to tip my hat to Sven Skaren in this game. He really turned around from the Jarvan. He was constantly helping out Niski Snowball and create a really big lead. Licorice's Aatrox was all right. He did get solo killed by Impact at one point, which was kind of yikes. And the team looked a lot better. You know, they looked a lot better with their engages. They looked a lot better of where to press their lead and how to really flex their lead. They did almost throw it though. They were actually, this game was actually, before they really went away with it, was kind of a mistaken lane game. The play in bot lane with Rift Herald, where Svenskeren and Niski are going to, you know, set up for like some kind of tower dive and kill bot lane and try to kill that turret. Sneaky then peels off with Zeyzal attached to him to like, I'm gonna go kill the Herald, and you know, Sven and Niski end up dying, so you're kind of losing your lead of it there. I think Sneaky made the team made a bad call. Not sure if it was Sneaky's decision or if it was the team's decision, and they just thought, yeah, we can probably fight him 2v3, and you know, they were just overconfident with Niski. I am not really surprised at. Licorice did get solo killed. There was a couple other points where I think the team did kind of start to maybe throw a bit, and it was looking kind of shaky, but the team did pick off some really good fights. They were able to get Impact out of position and kill him first, which is really important because their engage is pretty much, okay, we layer on, you know, Kennen zooms in, then we get Sona, then we get Twisted Fate, and you're just layering all this like really good kind of CC one after another. And the team was able to overtake that, and then they were just steamrolled Team Liquid down. I did not like how close it was. You know, if you look at the scoreline, it's like, oh, well, Niski went 6-1-6, and Sneaky went 6-0-2, and, you know, Zeyzal got 10 assists that game and didn't die once, and, let's see, what about turrets? I didn't say turrets. But, you get the idea. You know, if you look at all the stats on paper, it would look like, oh, C9 did really well, when in actuality, they actually almost lost it, and they were kind of teetering on throwing it because, you know, they were letting Impact just freely split push a lane and not, you know, make him go unchecked and other stuff like that. You know, it was just mistakes that were just like, if you made one or two big mistakes, which C9 are kind of prone to doing sometimes, they would have lost. You know, it's good that they beat Team Liquid, right? It's good that they beat Team Liquid and shows that, like, okay, we beat Team Liquid twice this split. So it shows that they're not that invincible, and that we can, you know, we can totally defeat them. You know, it's more of a thing of they need to be more consistent, and I really am hoping they're more consistent this weekend. They play against the Golden Guardians on Saturday, August 3rd at 5 p.m. Central, and then Optic, August 4th at 2 p.m. Central. And I think that these matches are going to be tough. Looking at the standings here, Golden Guardians are in 5th place. Tied for 5th, actually, with Optic. You know, so, you know, this team could definitely beat Cloud9. They're looking, you know, if you give them a draft, like you really want them to. I remember, I think they did beat us, actually, because we gave Frog and Anivia, and we gave them a couple other comfort picks. You know, if you give them a pretty good draft, they can definitely roll you over. I can really see that. Even though they do have Huhi as a support, their bot lane's looking kind of, you know, their bot lane's looking serviceable, you know. And, you know, this is more of a laning meta rather than a, you know, like a team fight meta that we had last year that we really excelled at. And I think that maybe be the thing that C9's struggling with. You know, they're going from, oh yeah, we'll just fight and then we'll win and then ease that. But now it's very much focused on lane advantages. Excuse me, lane advantages and getting, you know, the lanes going and making sure that you have, you know, these nice little advantages in lanes so then you can build together. You know, I really wish that they would not fight as often and be at least a little bit more judgmental on when they fight. Maybe we can test that here. You know, Optic Gaming, that's going to be also very tough. They have thrown a couple of games. I've seen the games last weekend. Watching them a little bit recently. They have this really great roster, and they put themselves on points where it's like, okay, they're crushing it. There's no way that they can lose, but then they somehow make a stupid mistake and then end up throwing it, and then they do lose. So I think C9 has to make sure that they're in control of the game, so Optic doesn't get to that point. They can't rely on Optic to throw, but if they can control the game, they can definitely win. As far as predictions go, I can't really predict the 2-0. I have to give them at least a 1-1 just for inconsistency's sake. Just for, it looks like they're still struggling with a lot of problems and are trying to get things together in time for playoffs, which is next week, actually. So hopefully we'll see where everything shakes out standing wise and seeding wise for playoffs. Cloud9 is guaranteed into the playoffs, I believe. I believe they have clinched playoffs, and it's just a matter of where they will seed, if it is second, third, whatever. I don't think they can get first. Maybe they can. Maybe they can tie Team Liquid first and then beat Team Liquid in the head-to-head. I'm not sure. But we'll have to see how the weekend goes and move on from there. But I've been your host, Havokpus. Thanks again for listening. Hopefully Frozen Creek will be back next week and we can have a proper episode. But until then, make sure to follow us at C9 Bodied, and I'll see you again next time.